Okay, Darren, thanks for joining me. How are you doing today?
Yeah, good. Thanks, Chris. Yeah, not bad at all. Thank you. All
Good.
good.
Good, perfect. So I'll pass it over to give you a quick intro first off, Darren. So who are you and where are you currently working?
Yeah, so my name's Darryn Stamp. I'm currently the Deputy Head of School for Health, Education and Sport at DN Colleges Group. So we work from UCNL, which is a university-based campus in North Lincolnshire, and we've also got Doncaster College or University Campus Doncaster that's obviously based in Doncaster as well. So we joined together a few years ago, become DN Colleges Group. So I oversee provision at both UCNL in Scunthorpe and University Campus Doncaster. So got a range of degrees really at UCNL. We've got we're just changing, so just going through revalidation. So we're going to have the sport, health, and coaching science degree. And then at Doncaster, we've got two separate degrees. We've got the physical education and sports coaching, and we've got the sport, health, and exercise science program. So, like three courses across both campuses, and the performance analysis module is part of all three of them. So, it's a good module across all three of our degrees, and something that I've enjoyed teaching over the last few years.
Perfect. So you mentioned it's a module on the all three then, Darren. Is that a core module? So the students do have to do that as part of their whichever course they're on?
Yeah, I think because we see analysis as a key part of any coaching role, anything to do with that aspect, I suppose it's a core module. We've got it across level 4 in Doncaster, and we have it at level 5 in Scunthorpe. So gives the students a good opportunity to engage in kind of like the fundamentals and the basics, if you like, of performance analysis. So it gives them that opportunity to not only engage in the kind of theory aspect of it and the wider reading with the journal articles and the contemporary reading lists, but also it's that practical element, that hands-on experience that we really want them to get to grips with, I suppose, because we do get a lot of students coming on our programs that they love the sound of being a performance analyst. So what's better than to give them that real hands-on experience, because it's all right learning the theory sat in a classroom, but are they going to be able to use it competently, and are they going to be able to consider what's the best form of analysis and how are they going to implement it across whichever sport and sector environment they'll be working in. So for us, it's a win-win, because as staff, it's something that we're interested in, and it's obviously a key part of coaching in a range of different sports and disciplines now. So it gives us a great opportunity to transfer that. And to be fair, I see it as we discuss it with the students. Like, we give them a bit of the intro and the fundamentals, but then we discuss some of the challenges and some of the issues that might occur within analysis, which is obviously great for us all to be involved in.
Yeah, perfect. So you touched upon it a little bit there, kind of the popularity. So we before we started recording, we were discussing kind of back when we were at university and kind of how it's kind of grown from there. So I'm just curious to ask you, Darren, in terms of the popularity with the students. You mentioned some are showing an interest in it anyway, but in terms of popularity as a whole, in terms of performance analysis in sport, how do you kind of see that that's developed maybe over the last sort of 5 to 10 years?
To be fair, Chris, I'd even go back further than that, because I've come from a professional football background. So I played professional football for 13 years. And if I look back at the analysis that we used to get back then,
Hmm.
we used to sit in a room after the game on a Monday, and we'd watch the full game back, and they'd stop it, and you'd be dreading showing the clip that came up when you made a mistake and whatever had happened. So that was analysis back then. I mean, now you look, and the amount of analysis that is available, I suppose, to players and to coaches and to management staff, it's phenomenal. I know off the camera, I even said to you, I would argue it's maybe going too far, in
Yeah.
that we're kind of becoming, people see it as the answer. And if you're not doing sports science and if you're not doing analysis to the nth degree, then you're not ticking every box that you possibly can do. But I think my prime example would be watching the FA Cup final on Saturday. I think
Mhm.
football's now become something where one of my colleagues in Norway, I think he put a tweet out saying it's like watching handball,
Yeah.
because it's become very defensive and working it round. And I think that's what's happened with analysis. I think people have maybe taken it too literally in terms of what other teams do, what other clubs do, and I think it's maybe taking a little bit of the kind of like freedom away from football, if I'm being honest. And again, I'm talking about one sport. I mean, I like watching the like Full Swing on Netflix as well. I mean, you
Yeah.
look at what Matt Fitzpatrick's doing in terms of his data collection and analysis; it's phenomenal. So I think these are really useful tools for people. And again, to discuss with students, look at what is available and look at what people can engage with and how much it can improve and what you can focus on. But just because you do that doesn't mean you're going to be the next best club player,
Yeah,
individual, whatever that might be. So, as much as they're really valuable tools and it's an excellent way of analysing performances, it's not the answer. And I
yeah,
think that's, again, the great discussions to have with students in terms of just because you do all this, you're not going to become a phenomenal player at whatever sport you're doing. But at the same point, look at what advantages you can take and what benefits there are to it. So,
yeah. Agreed. Yeah, no, I agree. Glad you said that. So, in terms of then just going back to the actual the module itself, then Darren. So you mentioned it touches upon kind of an introduction to analysis. Can you talk a little bit more around what the students kind of get exposed to on that module itself?
yeah, so obviously we look at the theoretical side of things as well. So we get them to think about qualitative analysis and quantitative analysis and what both offer, but also what the limitations of both approaches are. And again, I'm always conscious that because of my football background, I don't want it just to be football, 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 because
Mm.
students get bored, and especially the ones that come from different sports. But that's why it's kind of like refreshing for me because our students come from a range of backgrounds. We've got like boxers, gymnasts, like MMA. There's a wide range of sports that students bring with them into the classroom, and we can consider how, when, why we would look to analyze performances, how different it would be
Mm.
compared to the bigger sports and the more popular sports, and it gives us a great opportunity to think about how it might be different in different contexts. So I'm all for each individual within the class giving their own opinion on how they would analyze a sport of their choice, which is what our assessment's tailored around. It's not a case of one size fits all, and this is how we analyze. Like the first assessment is trying to demonstrate their competency of using in play, so they'll follow 10 tasks.
Yeah,
Again, nice and simple, straightforward. But then the second part of the assessment for the practical is for them to show me how they would analyze a sport of their choice.
yeah,
So again, giving them the freedom, tell me exactly what you would do, how you would do it, when you would do it, why you would do it. And again, I always say to the students, you can't be wrong.
yeah,
Like there's no like 100% foolproof way to analyze performance. As long as you can justify and explain the reasoning behind why you would take that approach, then for me that's innovative and it's your unique way of analyzing. Again, who am I to say that that's incorrect and is not going to
yeah.
improve performances or whatever that might be?
Yeah, no, I think it's good that you give the students the freedom to do the different sports, and I think that's where, excuse me, that like in play online can be used with pretty much any sport. As long as you are breaking that video down and kind of annotating and doing things, it can be worked with across a range of sports. So, in terms of then the students getting experience, because obviously that's a key part of them kind of becoming employable after they've gone through the college pathway, Darren. So, are they able to get any experiences with local clubs, or how does it kind of work with you in terms of giving the students them opportunities?
Yeah, we have got a couple of good links as well. So like being based in Scunthorpe and Doncaster, we're now developing a really strong link with Scunthorpe United,
Mm.
who currently are looking for us to help to support with their performance analysis. So we're currently sorting a couple of students out to work with them next season. Doncaster Rovers, we've worked with the under-18 team over the last couple of years. We've got the Doncaster Bells, who have looked to engage with the analysis as well. So there's always opportunities for students to engage. But again, as you'll find, they're all football.
Yeah, yeah,
So we've also, Aaron's just joined the program as the new program leader. So, and interestingly for us, he's from a rugby background. So he's the strength and conditioning coach for Hull Rugby Union. So this season already, we've had two students engage with in play online with Hull Rugby Union to offer opposition analysis before they play the game, and then an analysis on their performances after the game as well. So we do try to offer those, like you say, it's that hands-on, it's that real world experience where the analysis is going somewhere for somebody to interpret
yeah.
and make use of the analysis that the students have been engaged with, because like you say, we know how important that is when students are looking to enter that profession as well.
Yeah, perfect. So I want to ask you then a little bit more around your decision to go with Imply Online. We were trying to work out how long you've been with us before we started recording, Darren. So it's been quite a few years now. So even so that since then you've kind of merged colleges, you've changed positions as well. I think you've had a promotion and stuff in that time. So just kind of casting your mind back to when you first decided to take him online. I'm just curious to ask, what that decision, how did you decide on that in terms of why did you choose us, what you like about in play, and how it's kind of worked with you and your students?
Yeah, I think this was something that I think it's probably about 5 years now, Chris,
Mm.
if memory serves. But when I first came into the role, there wasn't a performance analysis module in the degree,
Yeah.
and I'd come from University of Hull. So at Hull, we had the Mick Moore suite that was fantastic. It had all the Apple Macs, it had all of the facilities, and we had all this fantastic equipment. And I was realistic in terms of when I came to UCNL, I knew that we wouldn't be able to afford this amazing
Mm.
performance analysis suite with all of this amazing equipment. And so I'll be honest, we shopped around and we had a look at a few different products and few different prices. And it wasn't all about the cost, but the cost was a big part of it for us because we couldn't afford to be laying out like thousands of pounds every year.
Mm.
But I also loved the sound of it being remote, that students could access in their own time away from the campus, because that for me gives students an opportunity to go above and beyond, do their own thing, and not just sit in a classroom for an hour, leave the building, and off you go. If
Yeah.
they want to be a performance analyst, they've got access to all this amazing equipment, still the same.
Yeah.
Remote in the bedroom, they can do what they want. And I think from our side of things, we really benefited from that through COVID.
Yeah. Yeah.
Through the lockdown, it was the module still ran exactly as it would, whether we was on campus, whether it was online, and I was running the assessments from a bedroom, which
Yeah.
is amazing, really, because I know that if we were at Hull and we had the amazing Apple Macs and all of that stuff, I wouldn't have been able to run the assessments, and I've had to make modifications to the module. So to me, that was a key strength and a real benefit
Mm.
in terms of what students would get from using InPlay Online. And I still see it now. There's some students, don't get me wrong, some students won't turn a laptop on outside of the classroom and
Yeah.
they'll never use it. But others that are really keen on progressing down this pathway and
Mm.
that really love that aspect of coaching and analysis gives them that opportunity to do so. So for me, I think it's been a massively worthwhile investment for us in terms of giving students opportunities that they maybe wouldn't have got elsewhere.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, I mean that's massive. That's what we kind of hear from all the users in terms of yes, that it's very cost effective when you look at it on a per student basis. So you get top value for money. But then yeah, the fact that you can access it, you haven't got to lay out for a load of new hardware. Students can get it on their own tablets or their phones if they really wanted to do that. So and coupled with that, you've obviously got the support where we would kind of onboard you and make sure everyone's got what they need to be able to kind of get the most from it. So that's perfect, Darryn. So I will finish by asking you then, you've been involved in sport for some time, obviously, as you mentioned, as a player now in the education side. So if you were to give some advice to your students and to basically have a career in sport, it doesn't have to be an analyst, just in terms of just a career in the field of sport, what kind of advice would you give to a student in that position?
So I think from my point of view, I think education is key. But again, I think as long as that's married with hands-on experience as well.
Yeah.
I mean, Scott came in to give a talk to our students probably a couple of months back now.
Yeah.
And like he was honest in terms of I don't want to say a saturated market because I don't want to put students off and think you're never going to get into it. But we all know how competitive it is. It's like wanting to be a PE teacher.
Yeah.
Everybody that wants to be a PE teacher is not going to become a PE teacher because there's not enough jobs for everybody that wants that role. But at the same point, it's what going to stand you out above the crowd, if you like. So again, that degree, that master's, that hands-on experience, and it might be different experience. Rather than being at one club, it might be different sports. But I think Scott highlighted something as well that some of my students have started to take on board as well. Just because you're not at a club doesn't mean that you can't advertise and promote what you've been doing, so you can work independently at home. And like I say, I've got students that are interested in cycling and different sports that they maybe wouldn't be able to get elsewhere, but they're now starting to put together their own kind of like analysis package, if you like, and get themselves on social media to show what they've been doing away from the degree. So again, just trying to stand out above that crowd, hands-on experience. But I do think the degree is useful, and education, look, we never stop learning, do we? So I'm still learning things about performance analysis that I didn't cover. I've been like working in it for 15 years in terms of studying and learning, and I'm still finding things out now. So that's always going to change. It's always going to be refreshing, updating. So I always think it's good if people are willing to put in that shift in terms of the learning and experience side of it as well. Because if you love performance analysis, what a career!
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
For some, boring as hell. Why would you get involved? But for others, they love it. That's their area of interest, and I suppose they look at it that they're not really working because it's something that they enjoy. So
Mm.
can't blame them for that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. Just that's kind of standing out, coupling the education with the experience, and just doing as much as you can to, like you say, stand out from the other thousands of students that wanted to do it. Because yeah, it's I wouldn't say, obviously the word saturated is kind of negative term in terms of that. It's very competitive. Like any if it was, it's a good job, so a lot of people obviously want to do it. So yeah, I think it's difficult to get into, but it's definitely doable. So perfect, Darren. That's everything that I wanted to cover. So I appreciate your time as always. Great to chat, and I'll let you get off and enjoy the rest of your day.
No problems at all. Thanks a lot, Chris.
Cheers,
Cheers,
Darren.
mate.
Bye now.